If you struggle with sleeping too hot, you've got to meet the new Climate Cool Smart Bed from Sleep Number. It actively cools up to 15 degrees on either side for deeper, more comfortable sleep. Like all Sleep Number smart beds, you can adjust each side firmer or softer, making it the perfect bed for couples. Finally, no more sweaty, sleepless nights. Experience it for yourself, only at a Sleep Number store. Introducing the new Sleep Number Climate Cool Smart Bed, the only smart bed in the world that actively cools and effortlessly adjusts to both of you. Find Sleep Number smart beds at every price point, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Mothers know all about life's tricky transitions. Thankfully, Ollie helps you prioritize wellness through every age, life stage, or magnificent mood change. Need a multitasking multivitamin that keeps up with you? How about an essential prenatal for you and baby? Ollie's got you through it all. Life's tricky. Your wellness routine shouldn't be. Get what you need at ollie.com.
Did you take pictures that day?
Yes, I did.
Do you have pictures of the damaged car?
Yes, I do.
Were these pictures taken when the storm happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's the damages on my car.
Okay.
And I don't have an American car. I have a Germany car, so.
This is the plaintiff, Charmaine Savage. She says she parked her car at her boyfriend's house, and during an ice and rainstorm, a branch fell on her car, damaging it. Turns out the tree is on both her boyfriend and the defendant's property, and they share the tree. She's suing the defendant for half of her deductible, which is the $1,000 she's required to pay, because the tree damaged her car. This is the defendant, Isaura Garrow. She says the plaintiff came to her 5 months after the storm and tried to extort $3,000 from her for some so-called damage to her car. The woman's on some sort of money grab because the tree branches didn't even touch her car. She didn't even mention a thing until 5 months after the storm, and she refuses to be ripped off. She's accused of not being a responsible homeowner.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Savage, you are suing Ms. Garrow for $1,000, half of your $2,000 deductible, as a result of some tree limbs that fell on your car during a storm.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
So, February 25th.
Of what year?
Of this year.
Of 2022?
Yes, 2022. 9 a.m. roughly. I was asleep, got woken up. It sounded like gunshots, but it was, when I looked out the window, it was branches falling on top of my car. So it was a rainy, freezing rainy morning. You know what I mean? The trees were frozen or whatever the case may be. Like I said, they fell on my car. So then I immediately ran outside, and the cops were already there, but I can't report because that's it's not a car situation. That's what they explained to me. This don't have nothing to do.
So there was no police report?
No, I couldn't do it. They
Right.
said that they don't do that. So, and then...
Did you take pictures that day?
Yes, I did.
Do you have pictures of the damaged car?
Yes, I do.
Were these pictures taken when the storm happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's the damages on my car.
Okay.
And I don't have an American car. I have a Germany car. So, you know.
Your point being what? That the repair's expensive? Because the repair, what year car is this?
This is a 2017.
Right, and the repair was $6,000?
Yeah, that's what was informed to me when my...
But you didn't do the repair, right?
No, it was my insurance company and the auto
And
body
they
shop.
did they paid
Yes.
$6,000 for the repair?
Yes.
What needed to be repaired?
Well, I have everything that shows what
Right, let's look at the repair bill. But now, this tree that we're looking at here, I can see some frozen ice on it.
And that's what caused the tree, the branches to fall off.
Right, but you had said in your complaint that this tree was dead.
Yes, I have a picture of that too. Like, if you could see that someone cut into it.
Okay, cutting into it doesn't kill a tree, so I'm trying to understand.
Because that's what I thought. It was the dead tree. My fault.
Okay, were there leaves on the tree the prior November?
No.
Were there leaves on that tree the prior November or whenever you guys lose your leaves? I'm from Florida, sorry.
No.
Don't mean to brag, but, you know.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so how long hasn't that tree had leaves?
Probably the year before.
A year before. And so what happened to the tree?
Probably.
Was the tree dead?
The tree started dying.
Okay.
Since I moved there.
All right, so apparently the tree is right on the property line. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Your Honor.
And we know that because you did a survey, because first you asked her to pay $3,000.
No, well, not 3. I said 2. It was 2 because at first I didn't know, but then when she brought up the land survey, I said, that makes sense. Let me do that. And
So you did the land survey, and it turns out it's right on the property line.
It's between her
And your boyfriend.
Yes.
So you said to her, all right, so half and half, because the tree's dead. And your answer to that is what?
The branches fell down, but it was no any damage on the car.
Well, but there is
I
damage
have
to the car.
a camera in my house.
I know. Your camera has the car from very far. This picture shows damage, don't you think?
Yes, Your Honor, but it could
Plus
be
they did repair the car. I mean, it was
Yeah.
expensive, but...
Could be damaged from before because the police were there, and I assume that they will make a report.
Maybe, maybe not. Because that's not a criminal matter, is it? You see that there is damage there, right? I don't know if it's $6,000 worth of damage, but it's damage. You see that, right?
But like, how can I know that the accident were not before? Like, because
Right. So
like-
that's true of every single case in front of me and any judge in the history of mankind. How do you know that wasn't there before? Well, what evidence do you have that that was there before? That's a car that's parked in front of your house all the time. If you were to tell me, oh, but I've seen that car and that was like that before, that's evidence. If she were to tell me, by the way, was it like that before?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so that's it. I can't suppose that every car damage was like that before. See, here's the thing. Trees' limbs falling down are an act of God. They're not the responsibility of the homeowners unless it's a dead tree. If it really is a dead tree, then it's a problem. And it's a problem of both the homeowners. I know because you had said in your answer to the complaint that you'd called the city many times.
I called the city.
But the city's only responsible for those parts of the branches that are touching the telephone poles.
Exactly.
So I know that it's a complication for you to take care of it because what are you going to do? You're going to cut on the bottom and then that thing pulls down a telephone pole. I get it. Do you have any evidence that you had contacted the city to cut it down?
They didn't send me any evidence, but I have the text that we were talking.
How many times were you asking them to go there and cut the tree?
I went there like 3 times to the municipal building
in the year?
Orange.
Because we're talking about a whole year. And how many times did your boyfriend go there and ask him to cut the tree?
He didn't know at that time that it wasn't even his tree. He didn't know that tree was
it is his tree.
Well, now he knows.
Okay.
Now
well,
he knows that
it's right smack dab in the middle of the property line. It's so obvious it's both their tree. It's a big, fat tree in the middle of the property line. These are the 2 steps, right? On the bottom... Right is your boyfriend's step, and on the left is her steps, right?
Yeah, that's all her stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Those are her steps on one side of the tree, and those are your boyfriend's steps on the other. It is clearly like smack dab in the middle of both properties. But here's my question. Here's my question to you.
Yes.
When do you first say something to her?
Well, that day when that happened, I looked to see she wasn't there. Supposedly she was on vacation.
How do you know?
Because someone, when I looked and seen, I asked someone, hey, is she here? They said, no, she's on vacation.
Okay.
So I verified that with the neighbor downstairs. And then I was waiting, just to see, I don't know when she's going to come home.
According to her, it wasn't until July, right? That's when you say you got notified.
Almost June.
June, so 4 months later, she says.
No,
and you're saying that's not true.
It couldn't have been because, I got the land survey in June. So it was before that because we talked about this and when she mentioned me the land survey, that's when I said, I'm going to do it. And then it was a complication, like I said, when I got the land survey.
How much did the survey cost you? Or did they have it on file?
I don't have a receipt, but it was $800.
$800?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and you're suing for $1,000?
Well, because I don't have.
Because at the time you thought it was her tree.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So once I found out.
Did your boyfriend really pay $1,000?
Yes,
not that he has to, but
yes,
I mean, he does have to, but you may not.
Yes, he did.
You may not make him. I mean, so you've come to court to ask for the other owner of the tree.
Yes.
To say, listen, you have a dead tree. That's a risk to people, and you should have taken care of it.
Exactly.
And your defense to that is it was linked up to the telephone poles, and I couldn't take care of it. The city had to take care of it. But, the question becomes, did you have some responsibility when the city didn't do it? Do you have some responsibility to, and can you even, cut down a tree that is enmeshed in the wires? There are towns where you can't touch the tree that's involved with the power lines. There are towns where you can, but only with a certified tree trimmer who's licensed. There are towns where you can call the town and they come right away. There are towns where you can call the power company, and the power company hires somebody and comes right away. You are living in a town where you could hire someone to cut those down. I realize that you feel that it should be the city that takes care of that. I understand that. But it is something that you could take care of. Therefore, I do find, because everyone knew that this was a dangerous tree, and again, I can't stress this enough, how important it is that you as a homeowner and he as a homeowner know that that tree didn't bear any fruit for the last year, so you know it's dead, so you know it's a danger. So something has to be done. And for that reason, I'm going to find you half responsible for the deductible for the amount that she's suing for, in the amount of $1,000.
Right, hold on right there, please, lady.
So the plaintiff prevails. She gets the $1,000 she was seeking from the defendant, Ms. Garrow. Let's see what Ms. Garrow has to say about this. What do you think?
Actually, I'm not too happy about it, but I guess I have to follow the rule, and if it does the rule, I'm agree to pay the $1,000.
All right, let's see what Ms. Savage has to say. She's the one who filed the lawsuit for the $1,000. I would assume she's happy. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Did you think you had a chance to win? Obviously, you must have. You filed the suit.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of knew I was going to win because it's just how everything was. And then she lies.
Well, congratulations.
All right, thanks a lot.
And that will bring this case to a close. And it's a very happy plaintiff. Harvey?
Well, I want to make a bigger point than just this case, that if you have a neighbor who has a tree that looks precarious, put the neighbor on notice. Say, this tree is precarious, take care of it, cut it down, remove some branches, whatever. Once you put that person on notice, it creates a heightened duty of responsibility. And if that tree crashes or any part of it crashes and damages your property, you may have a case.
Marilyn, were you a PTA mom?
Yeah. Well, do you know, I should have asked you if you even know that.
What's the PTA? No.
I was room mother, we called it, at my kids' elementary school. I was room mother twice, actually, with a good friend of mine.
At St. Philip's.
Yeah, and we both worked, so we kind of shared the responsibilities. And there were always two room mothers, but we...
And what'd you do?
Everything.
Bring stuff in for the kids?
Yeah, just the typical room mother stuff. You have no idea what that means, do you?
No, not really. You know what? I never was asked to do it, like to be room father, which I think is totally sexist. And I never said a word. I didn't say a word about it.
There were room fathers, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't say a word about it. I just, most men, I suffered silently under the boot of the matriarchy in this country. And, But no, I was not a room father.
But we planned, it was their 5th grade graduation, because that's their last grade there, right. And we planned their graduation. You plan all the there in the class.
You used to go to most of the school trips with the kids.
You did go. You did your share of that.
I did 1 or 2. And I remember there was one to St. Augustine where one of the fathers is on the bus and kind of looks at you and goes, "Who's that lady over there?"
I know most of the parents here, but
I don't know
who is that lady? I go, "That's your child's teacher."
Which I thought was kind of funny. I guess he wasn't that involved.
No.
At the time. Oh, well.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
This episode is brought to you by National Geographic, presenting its new documentary film, Endurance. Follow the greatest survival story ever told, unpacking the legendary feat of polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton, who kept his crew alive for over a year despite losing their ship in frigid pack ice. Over a century later, a team of modern-day explorers set out to find the sunken ship. Endurance, now streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
This is the plaintiff, Lawrence Rauchs. He says he rented a room in the defendant's house, and the crazy guy attacked him in his bed in the middle of the night in a drunken stupor. They got into a physical altercation. He was handcuffed when the cops arrived and was then robbed of his belongings. This whole thing has been a nightmare, and he's here suing this nutty guy for the $9,089 he's out. This is the defendant, Andrew. He says the plaintiff acted very inappropriately with another female tenant in the house. He would actually stand stark naked in the bathroom outside her door, waiting for her to walk by and see him. When he went to talk to him about it, the guy hauled off and sucker punched him, and he had a knife in his hand. Oh, this kooky guy, almost $10,000? No way. He's accused of tussling with a tenant. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $9,535.65 for hospital bills and pain and suffering.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that he rented a room in the defendant's house and the wacko attacked him in his bed in the middle of the night. So he wants $9,000 for all he's out. Now, the defendant says that the plaintiff acted inappropriately with the female tenants and had to go. It's the case of a really bad fit.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Rao, you are suing Mr. Andrew for $9,089 that you say you are out as a result of his negligence and lying to the police. And you have a counterclaim against him for medical expenses in the amount of $9,533, Mr. Andrew, as well as pain and suffering. Let me hear from you first, Mr. Rao.
Well, one night, the morning of September 9th, 2019, I was just trying to get to sleep in my bed when suddenly, out of nowhere, I just hear somebody bust into my room. And this person's very drunk because there's a very strong stench. And it's Andrew, my landlord, or the person I'm paying rent to.
How long had you been living there?
I've been living there for several months, since October of 2018.
Oh, so about a year. All right. So had it been bad before the night that he busted in?
It had started getting pretty awkward after the female tenant moved in.
What made it awkward between you two based on the female roommate?
Well, honestly, I didn't have any issue with the female roommate.
Did she have an issue with you?
I had noticed that he was trying to kind of pick her against me, and she and I would mostly get along. And I texted her that day saying, because she had complained to me something about toilet paper, and I was like, well, here, Tori, I just bought I got a new toilet paper set. I was like, don't let Andrew make you think that like I'm the bad guy, okay? Because like, if anything, he's the common enemy. And
that is a weird way to live. All right, so he busts into your door, and what happens?
And he busts into my door, and he puts his hands on my shoulder in a gripping manner, and he's very, very drunk, and he shouts into my face, and he says, "Don't talk to Tori. You got that? Don't ever talk to." And he's like shaking me, and I'm just like, I'm totally, utterly just shocked. And I managed to get myself out of his grip though. And I'm just like, Andrew, I said, Andrew, you have to get out of my room right now. And he said, well, you have to agree. Yes. And I'm like, before I agree to anything, get out of my room, get out. And instead of getting out, he starts approaching me. And I'm not a violent person. I start backing up, and I just say to him, I say, Andrew, you don't want to hit a disabled person, dude. And
how are you differently abled?
I've had epilepsy since I was 11, and I have seizures. I've been having seizures. It's been a lifelong battle, I should say. And I take pills every day.
And then you say that to him, and what does he say or do?
He corners me, and then a physical escalation happens. And
who strikes who first?
He struck me first.
How did he strike you?
Your Honor, to be completely honest, I don't remember.
Okay, so now there's a physical altercation between you two, and how does it end?
I was able to effectively get him out of my room. So let's just say I won the fight.
How did you get him out of your room?
Push him out? I was able to give him a few punches.
Okay. And then did you push him out after punching him?
No, I pushed him out. Yeah, no, well, he actually ran up the stairs.
Okay, did you call the police?
I called the police.
And then the police come, and what happens?
Well, first he's like, Lawrence, don't call the police. We can resolve this some other way. And then the police come, and then the police come, and immediately they handcuff me. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? How are you guys handcuffing me? Like, I called you guys about this. Like, this is a bad situation for me. I'm the good guy.
Let me hear from you, Mr. Andrew, about this one aspect of the case, which is the fight that happens in the room in the wee hours of the morning, and why. Go ahead.
All right. First, I never struck Lawrence. Second, I never barged in his room. His light was on. The chain lock was off. He always keeps his chain lock on his door.
Was the door closed?
Yes. I asked Lawrence. Yeah, I opened the door. That I did do. I was instantly ambushed. There was no dialogue.
You were instantly ambushed about what? If he says, yes, come in, where's the ambush? Didn't you just say he invited you in?
I just opened the door. I was expecting the chain lock. It opened wider. I was instantly ambushed. All of the dialogue.
Okay, you need to stop, Mr. Andrew, because I don't understand how you're ambushed when you're going into his bedroom in the wee hours. You must have stop talking and listen to my question. Why are you going to his bedroom in the wee hours? There must be a reason you're going in there, and I'm asking you for that reason, and you keep talking about an ambush. What is your reason for going into his space at that time?
I got a text from Tori. What Lawrence had been doing, I caught him once, she caught him once, is he would just open the bathroom door wide open, turn on the light, running water, stand there naked. Okay. I told him to stop. I was coming to tell him, if you do it again, I really will evict you. I used the word evict for 30 days because his behavior was unacceptable and inappropriate the moment Victoria moved in here. And I should add, she heard the whole thing. She gave testimony to the South Philly detectives who pressed charges.
Okay, so let's back up. You had received a text from the female roommate saying he was he had the door open and was so she would see him doing it, right?
It was already an issue because I caught him doing it.
I want to know what happened that caused you to walk into his room that night. Am I not making myself clear? What had just happened?
I was coming to say, stop doing this.
All right, so you go in there to say that, and according to you, how many words do you get out before he
no words.
No words. So you open the door, and he does what?
Immediately, all I saw was a flash of blue light because my head got cracked. He likes to say he punched me. The dude had a knife in his head that was closed. Thank God the blade wasn't out. Swiss Army knife, pounded my skull. He did it like 3 or 4 times. I managed to get the knife out and go like that.
Wait, the knife out? How did you get the knife out of what?
It fell out of his hand.
Oh, out of his hand. Okay.
Right.
And then?
And then he runs downstairs. I run upstairs because blood's coming down my face. I lock my door. I'm looking in the mirror. He ran outside. He called the cops. The cops showed up. They had us both come outside. They took us separately, an officer each person, heard the stories. Then they cuff him. I go inside. I lock the door. I call a locksmith to make sure this guy doesn't get back in the house.
I know, but you know that's an illegal lockout, right? The law has a method for you not to have, let's assume every word you said was true, that he is not only sexually inappropriate with the other roommate, but he physically assaulted you. There is a method, there's a legal method for getting him out because we can't have people making stuff up because they no longer want their roommate and they don't want to have to go through eviction because that's long, expensive, and time consuming. So what the method that the law envisions for you to get a dangerous guy out is a restraining order that says that he can't go back there. But you didn't do that. You changed the locks, right?
I was willing to deal with whatever legal consequences. This man is dangerous. I had 2 other housemates to worry about, one of which he'd been totally sexually harassing for over 30 days. I was willing.
Do you have an affidavit from that female roommate?
Again, I thought this would all be in the discovery process because.
Do you have? Listen, I am a civil judge hearing a civil case. I do not do your research for. I'm just asking you. Do you have a statement from her, either one that she gave to the Philly police or one that she gave you for this defense?
No, I do not. I do not have any.
How about police reports? Are there police reports where what she said would be written?
Well, the district attorney has their paperwork.
Do you have it for me?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you have the police reports, Mr. Rao?
I have everything.
Okay, hold on one second. Where's the rest of the witness statement? Because I have the beginning police report, but it conveniently cuts off at where the witness says what happened. And the witness we're talking about is the female resident. I want to know what she says. Do you have it in front of you so that you can hold it up to the camera so I can read what the witness said?
I didn't realize that I was going to be needing.
Is that a yes or a no? Can you send? My needs are very simple. Can you send me the whole affidavit? Because to me, having done what I do for so long, when someone takes a picture of the top of the affidavit and cuts out when the witness, who's the female tenant, is telling her side of the story, it's because you don't want me to see what the witness says. I now really want to see what the witness says.
Your Honor, all I can say is that where it says "get out of my room,"
I don't want you to editorialize. I want to see it with my own eyeballs.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay. Thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
So what happens next? So the police are out there. Do the police end up arresting you, right, Mr. Rao?
They didn't arrest me. They did not arrest me. They cuffed me, but they did not arrest me.
Oh, they did not arrest you. Did they charge you with anything that night?
No. If you would allow me, please. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So he locks you out. How does he lock you out?
Well, he does it while after he talks to the police.
Okay. And how does he do it?
The police came. They handcuffed me. They escorted me to the back of their car. Then they said, "Wait here while we talk to Andrew."
And then,
while I'm in the back of the car, they go talk to Andrew, who's completely intoxicated. And I know he's not going to give him a coherent story. Anyways, after they're finished with him, they come back and they get me. And they say, and they don't arrest me. They choose not to arrest me because, as it states,
what do they tell you to do about sleeping there that night?
Well, they first of all, they tell me to go back into your room because they don't know that you locked me out.
When you try to go back into your room, what do you find?
I don't get. In fact, I first knock on the door. They don't open the door. They can't. He doesn't open the door for me.
He won't open the door
for me.
And he's already locked you out. So do you call the police? Yeah. At that point, have the police left or no?
At that point, the police asked me if I knew anybody in Philadelphia. They told me that this wasn't really under their jurisdiction to handle, and they asked me if I knew anybody in Philadelphia.
And asked for you to sleep somewhere else that night.
Exactly. And
they give you a ride to an ex-girlfriend's house. You sleep there. The next day you come back. And when you come back, what happens?
So I come back about an hour. It's about 5 a.m. now.
Okay. And what do you do?
I walk back down there, and then I shout to Andrew. I said, "Andrew, if you want to have it out like this, be a man. Throw me out my pills at least." And at that point, it's pitch black. He opens up. I see him open up my window. He opens up my window, not his window, my window from my room, and he peeks his head out. He's looking for valuables to throw out. He takes my laptop and he just throws it out the window. Smash. Then there's also some glass items on my desk. He throws out.
A bomb.
Create like a little. Yes.
Okay, go on.
Expensive one.
An expensive bomb.
Okay. Yeah, he smashes it. And so right away I call the police. He does not throw out my pills, which is really the one thing that I really need. I call the police immediately. By then he's closed the window and everything. The police come down though, same policeman as before, and I try to get him to open the door again. He does not open the door. So anyways, I realized the best thing to do for me at this point is to go to the hospital and get treated via triage at the emergency room.
To get pills.
To get pills, exactly. And I go to the emergency room, and while I'm there, I get the creative idea that actually I hadn't tried the back patio yet. So I go back to the place, and this time, instead of trying to get in through the front, I climb over through the back. And although the door is locked in the back, the window is is opening. And surprise, surprise, he's on the first floor, and he notices me trying to get in through the back window, and he's like, Lawrence, you can't break and enter. This is break and enter. So he starts poking this broomstick at me, and I'm just like, so I managed to get the broomstick somehow out of his hands. And then as soon as that happens, he turns to a beer bottle, and he chucks a beer bottle about 5 feet in front of my face, and fortunately misses. And at that point, I hear it smash behind my head. I climb in through the window, and he just bolts. He just bolts up to his room.
Did you get your pills?
I bolt to my room. Yeah, absolutely. I bolt to my room. I know he has a gun too, I believe. And so
So all these are very bad ideas on your part. If he has a gun.
I need my medication.
Yeah, I know. You could get it from the hospital. You could have stayed put in the hospital and gotten your medication. I mean, we all know you could get your medication a different way than going to a house with a crazy guy with a gun, right? Like, that's the worst way to get your medication, is returning to a house with a crazy guy with a gun. Did you end up going back to get the rest of your stuff?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They told me.
So you are suing for $2,000 for emotional distress, $1,600 for unlawful eviction, $1,000 for deprivation of the medicine, $1,119 for the Dell laptop. Do you have a receipt for the Dell laptop?
Yes, ma'am. I provided it.
You're also suing for your prorated rent because you got thrown out in the middle of September, and so you want the rest of your rent back that you didn't get to live. I understand that. Unanticipated rent increase because the next place you went to, you had to pay more. And the rest is defamation. The bulk of your case is the false charges leading, well, it's not the bulk, but it's the other 2,000 are false charges leading to time spent in prison and 2 seizures. I want to talk about that. How much time did you end up spending in prison?
It was about 3.5 to 4 days.
Okay, and that's because later on, even though the police didn't arrest you that night or charge you that night, he went and filed charges with the district attorney, correct?
Correct.
They issued a warrant. Right. So they got a warrant for your arrest. And how did you end up getting arrested? Did they call you and tell you surrender?
Yes, they gave me a phone call. They said we've gotten all this information.
Right. I got it. The answer is yes. All right. So then you went, and before you could post bail, 3 or 4 days pass. You end up with a trial, and the trial happens when?
The trial happened about a month after.
Okay. And what happens with the trial?
Immediately dropped the aggravated assault.
All right. Mr. Andrew, I want to hear from you. You've already described what happened that night. You realize that there are consequences to pay for an illegal lockout. What I would like to talk about is the computer and the bong that he says you throw out the window. Tell me what happens at the window. Go ahead, Mr. Andrew.
Okay. I open up the window because this dude ain't coming back in this house. Not after that psychotic episode. I said, he wants his laptop. He wants his thing. And I'm like, dude, catch. I didn't throw.
Are you on a first story or a second story when you do that?
His room was second story.
So you would literally release the computer from your hands?
Yes.
And does he catch?
No.
And you think that's on him and not you?
At that stage, quite honestly,
you don't care.
No.
Right. Well, there's consequences to pay for that. What about, I don't even know, it's marijuana legal in your state? Philadelphia. Do you have a prescription you can show me, Mr. Rao?
I have one from California.
That doesn't work in Philadelphia. All right. So I can't discuss the value of your bong because that's considered paraphernalia in your state. So the laptop is thrown, the bong is thrown, and what else? Are those
Your Honor,
are those the two things that are thrown out the window? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Do you throw out his medicine? Because I imagine he's asking for his medicine, Mr. Andrew.
He never asked for his medicine.
All right. So what he says is that you made up all this stuff, and he got criminally prosecuted, and he says he ended up being found not guilty. So according to him, you made up the allegation that he attacked you, and but And according to him, you now owe him many thousands of dollars because of it. You have a lawsuit against him for your medical expenses that were incurred when, in 2019?
Yes, the night where I went to chat with him where he ambushed me.
Okay, the judges found him not guilty of that. But in any event, what happened to you? What were your what when he sucker punched you? According to you,
it wasn't a punch. It was a smash with a metal object.
Which is interesting because I did read enough of the police report to see that you, according to the first officer on the scene, never mentioned a metal object. And then when you were told you'd have to file a complaint downtown because this was a misdemeanor outside their presence and they couldn't arrest, you then mentioned a metal object. That's exactly what the officer says you did. That the first mention of a metal object came after you heard that they would not be able to arrest him for a misdemeanor outside their presence.
That is not the case.
That's fine. I'm telling you what the police report says. According to P.O. Sebron, the complainant did not mention the knife during the initial conversation, but then stated that he was assaulted with a knife after it was explained that the complainant would need to seek a private criminal complaint. What were your injuries? Did you get stitches? Did you get what happened to you?
It was a broken orbital bone, and it was broken in like 2 places. And that is not done by a fist.
No, can I ask you though, what was the treatment of that?
Basically, they weren't going to do any surgery or anything. Okay. I mean, it's take extra strength Tylenol to let the swelling.
Okay. Did you end up on any painkillers or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I mean, so the $5,000 in pain and suffering is because of the punch, but you weren't on any painkillers. You were on extra strength Tylenol. One of the things you're suing for, Mr. Rao, is 2 seizures. Do you have any evidence of the 2 seizures?
I can't provide evidence of seizures that I had in prison, Your Honor, no.
Well, you should be able to, because if you're having a seizure, the prison would document it and take you out and take you to the medical wing.
Well, they put me in a different part of the prison after I had the first seizure, but the guards were very, very negligent and incapable of accommodating me with my pills.
Okay.
And that's what led to the seizures.
Okay. Okay, folks, let's discuss first the medical expenses and the pain and suffering. We'll go in reverse order, the counterclaim. The counterclaim is not filed until 2022. The statute of limitations for that has passed. So you are entitled to 0 on that claim because you have missed the deadline for filing that. Let's discuss now Mr. Rao's claim against Mr. Andrew. I find that you're entitled to some of the things you're asking for. I do not find that you're entitled to the amount that you're asking for. I don't know what happened between you guys. I wasn't there. But in order for you to succeed in a malicious prosecution case, you got to prove 3 things: malice, no probable cause, and a result favorable to you. I'm sure there's plenty of malice to go around, and you clearly got a result favorable to you, but that there's no probable cause for that prosecution, I don't buy it. Frankly, I don't know what happened in there. I don't know who hit who first. I don't know. I think you're both acting like jerks. I definitely think that you are in the right, Mr. Rao, when it comes to an illegal lockout and the consequential damages as a result of that, as well as the Dell. It is a 2-year-old Dell. When you go to court, you don't get the cost of replacement or the cost that you paid 2 years ago. You get the depreciated value of the item. I am setting that depreciated value at a very generous $750. Because I don't like how it happened. The rent increase, you didn't expect that. That's a consequence of being unlawfully evicted. And the prorated rent, that's the rent you paid him that you didn't get to live out. And I agree with you because there is a right way and a wrong way to get somebody out, and this is not the right way. And he knows it, and he says, I'm willing to pay the consequences. So now's the time he pays the piper. And so all of those amounts come up to $1,595. Those are your consequential damages for the unlawful eviction, and that is why I'm granting you. Good luck, gentlemen.
So, after all of the testimony, the plaintiff ends up with $1,595. Mr. Andrew, you're the defendant in this case. What's your reaction to all of this?
Well, in terms of the laptop and the rent, I can understand the judge. In terms of pretty much everything Lawrence said was total lies. That's about it.
All right, that's about it. You got to pay him $1,595. That's what the judge says. You're going to have to live with that. Okay, Mr. Rao, you had been suing actually for $9,089. You didn't come anywhere near that. What do you feel about the judge's decision?
I feel it's fair in the sense that it's hard to prove false statements and defamation is based on false statements. However, the way that it unfolded, you should definitely still be responsible for the price that I put there.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this case, and that's what the plaintiff gets, $1,595. Harvey?
Doug, so this case really involves an allegation of malicious prosecution. Frankly, it's not even close. There was probable cause, as the judge says, to arrest the plaintiff. But typically, in a malicious prosecution case, you have to prove that the person who got you arrested was motivated solely out of malice, and that clearly wasn't the case here.
Marilyn, what's the first thing you do when you get home from work?
Home from taping here, the first thing I do is take a shower to get the airplane off of me. That's not true. The first thing I do is pet the dog. Because she'll be waiting for us and she hasn't seen us, and she always says that, you came back, look.
Like she's astonished.
Right,
that we came
it was
back
a miracle
again.
that we came back.
Right.
And then after that, I just wash the airport off me.
Right. I'll tell you, my protocol is we get in the door, and I spend the first 5 or 10 minutes with the dog.
Right.
Just fussing over the dog, petting the dog, talking to the dog. And then I haul our suitcases upstairs.
Oh, yeah, you haul everybody's.
I always put yours up on a stool so you don't have to bend over to open it, and then I open it up so you can unpack, right?
Yes, that's true, actually.
Okay, and then it's probably downstairs. I go back out, get the mail, huge pile of mail.
Then you dump it on
right
my
on
head.
your desk.
Right.
On your desk.
For me to handle.
I dump all the mail on your desk, and then probably.
And then oftentimes I'll just sit there and go through the week's mail because I can't stand
like that.
it.
You can't even it can't take 10 minutes. It's like boom.
And
you
you're like,
start.
Nina, relax. We just got home. I know.
Right, and then I usually fetch a beer or wine for both of us, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's unless it's like midnight already, or it's in the morning.
Or even if it is.
Once in a while, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?